My name is Melissa Fernandez, and I will be interviewing Mrs. Carrie Riden.
And my name is Talia Moore, and I will be working behind the camera.
So, were you born on Nantucket?
I was. Yep, both my parents were as well, and one of my children.
Did you ever move?
Well, I went off island for college, and then when I graduated, I moved to New York City for a couple years, where I worked in publishing and in nonprofits, and then I moved to Connecticut. I kind of inched my way back here as I was starting a family, and once I had one son, we had to move back and get some help.
So what is special about raising a family on Nantucket?
For me, well, I'm very, very fortunate. I have a large family, so for me, it's all about family. Nantucket's a perfect place, magical place, but for me, I'm here because my family's here, and I'd go wherever they were. So I was fortunate growing up to be able to walk down the street to my grandparents' house. It was only 5 minutes to the other one, so I never had to split up holidays or anything. We never had to travel on holidays. And it's the same for my kids. My husband's from Texas, so of course we have to travel to see his family, but we live basically in my parents' backyard. My sister lives 2 doors down, so we are very fortunate. My kids get to run back and forth to their grandparents whenever they want, and I have 2 little nephews who we can play with whenever we want, so we're very, very fortunate.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2 boys. They're 10 and 12.
Okay, what's your job?
I am the executive director of Palliative and Supportive Care of Nantucket. It's a really long name. We shorten it to PASCON to talk about it. And I help raise money so we can offer free services to people who are dying, or, well, not dying. They're living with serious illnesses. They're caring for people with serious illnesses or grieving, and it's pretty important work that they do. And I just help raise the money, but I'm very honored to be able to help with it.
So, who was the most important person in your life?
Eeks. That's a tough one. I'd probably say my children now. They've helped me realize a lot more about myself, strengths and weaknesses, probably mostly weaknesses. And it's interesting to see myself in my kids and scary as well, and trying to step back and let them be their own people and not, even though I know what's coming for them, or I feel like I do, trying not to get in the way of that and just let them be who they're going to be. I think they're definitely the most influential people ever.
So, did you contribute to the society as a kid?
I probably did. I would say so. I was very involved. I don't know about the whole community, but definitely the school community. I was the president, and I was in all these clubs and drama, and I was very involved, and that's something I think that's unique about Nantucket. I don't know if it's still that way, but when I was in school, you could do everything. There was enough time, and there was the opportunity to try everything. So, I was always very busy, and I enjoyed all that after-school stuff a lot. I started the school newspaper, which gave me a lot of joy, a lot of direction. It kind of told me about myself and what I really liked doing. I didn't go anywhere with it, but I still, to this day, love that sort of work. I would say starting the paper was a major event for me because it really, I really got into it. I loved it, and I got a lot of confidence. I was very shy, but I was confident in school, and in school-related things. I was super shy. I would never do something like this when I was in school, unless I was dragged to, and I'd probably throw up if I had to do it. But yeah, I could do that sort of thing for school, and I got a lot more confidence from the paper. I worked with this wonderful woman named Pam Mickelson, who is the mother of a friend of mine, but she always treated me like an equal. And so she and I started the paper together, but she was always kind of in the background. I never really realized how much she did because she made me feel like it was all mine. And I got to, manage a team of students and work with the teachers. And I really felt like I gained a lot of respect, and I really gained a lot of confidence from that.
How was it going from being in Nantucket High School to going to Harvard?
That was very challenging. I always did very, very well at school here. And I didn't like school, but I liked doing well, and I liked pleasing people. And, the teachers always liked me, and I always did really well. And I never had to work, really. So I did not know the first thing about studying. I had never really studied. I feel like I never had really worked. And then I got there, and God, it was like the classes were huge, and nobody paid attention to you, and it felt like nobody cared. Like we lived in an apartment from day one, like alone, like in the city. We weren't alone. We were 4 to a room, but it was just like, oh my God, I'm all of a sudden alone in a city, and I have to do all this stuff. And I got, B's and a C. And for me, that was a big blow. I had never done poorly, and it was awful. I was really, really shocked and upset a lot of my freshman year. But on the other hand, socially, it was exciting. I'd been shy, and it sounds mean and stereotypical, but it's kind of true that the group of people that I was at school with, were kind of on the dorky side. There were a lot of people who were ridiculously smart, and I felt like I didn't belong to be there. And there were these people who were just on a different level than I was, and I was like the normal, nice one. And so I was able to be friends with more people, and I kind of grew socially, but academically and work-wise and stuff, I retreated a bit. I didn't really put myself out there in terms of joining anything. I ended up doing fine. The B's and C's in retrospect were not that big a deal, and everything was fine. But I felt lost. I wimped out, and I left that area, and I did not pursue the sciences or anything, which I don't really regret now, but it was hard.
You said you didn't like school, but which subject was like your favorite?
When I was younger, like elementary school, I think it was probably writing. I used to do some classes in the summer on my own. It ended up just being me and this one woman who's an author, and I loved it, and I continued that at school. But that went away. I felt kind of, maybe even by 4th or 5th grade, like I felt kind of stifled, like they start to tell you exactly what you have to write. And from that point on, I was like, forget this. I still enjoyed writing essays and things, but the love of it was gone. And then I think it got replaced by math. There was this program called the Math League, which was run by this woman named Jackie Jetty, who was a terrific teacher who worked with kids that needed a little more challenge. And they were these tricky math questions, and it was a contest. And every week, every month, whatever, you had to do a bunch and see how many you could get. And I loved that sort of thing.
What was the happiest moment of your life?
Yeah, it was falling in love with my husband. I don't know a specific moment, and I think that's kind of cheesy, but it was. Those were the happiest days of my life. And it was combined with, I think, I was in New York at the time. So I guess that was another thing. Being in New York, like on my own, even before I met him, was another extremely happy time. I first went to New York this summer after my junior year of college to do an internship. And again, I was such a homebody and so shy, and nobody thought I would like it there, but I loved it. And I felt, like the Mary Tyler Moore stupid thing with throwing the hat up. Like I felt so empowered and strong, and I was really, really happy and confident there. I was like a different person. And then, 2 years later, a year later, to meet my husband and to share that with him and to be in that space myself, to be so confident and happy, those were just awesome times.
Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have an older sister.
Okay. How did she influence you, if she did?
She did. I was, I'm the younger sister. I was certainly very jealous, and felt like I was in her shadow. And, here, it being so small, people would confuse us, and they would also expect the same from me that they got from her. She was also a very good student. I think I shied away from a number of things because she was good at them. She was really good at dancing, and tennis, for instance, and I tried ballet, and after a day or two, I was like, I'm out of here. I'm never going to be as good as her, it's too bad that I was that way, and probably still am a perfectionist. And, if I wasn't going to be as good as she was, I was out of there. Tennis was the same way, although I stuck with it, but was never as good. But fortunately, I think we had enough different interests, and I developed my own interests and pursued those things pretty early, so that we didn't compete, and we didn't have that much to do with each other, like in middle school and high school. But I'm sure, but she was definitely an influence, and we're very close still today. Like I said, she lives a couple doors down, and we see each other all the time.
Well, thank you, Carrie,
Of course.
for participating.
Thank you for asking me. Good job.
Thank you.